Oh my goodness. How is everybody doing? Back with another interesting video, okay? But this time, this is not a beta read. No, no, no. This is another amazing writing tip video. So, with that being said, we're going to be talking about something very interesting today, okay? If you've gotten a beta read done by me, or have gotten an alpha read, whether if it was free on the YouTube channel or on Fiverr, you probably know that by now, you'll see me comparing writing a lot to music. So, and cooking. It's kind of weird. All my passions just kind of thrown in one. Anyways, yeah. So, been beta reading a lot. Really backed up now. So, also got the microphone today. Pretty interesting. So, I'm going to give you guys some tips that I've just kind of found after this echelon of beta reads. I'm getting buried by orders. So, yeah, some quick plugs out the way real quick. Like, subscribe, you know, let's get this channel going. It's some good stuff. Yamikage, my first book. Wonderful. Oh, my goodness. Feel free to pick that up. Library edition, really cool. Bright Dreadful Sun, oh my goodness. My third book, so nice. And of course, Not Every Star in the Night, oh my goodness. Go ahead and pick up those books if you want, but we're not here to talk about my books. We're here to talk about your books. So this video is going to be, you know, quite interesting because we are going to be giving you advice. Me. Just me, not we. Well, you know, perhaps it is we because I'm getting a lot of this advice from all the beta reads I've been doing. So, harmonic writing, okay, let's really just kind of bury this deep real quick, bury the writing deep so we can go into what literal harmony is. So, harmony is when two things are working together, you know, and especially in music, it's when notes are coming together to like really create a nice, beautiful, harmonious sound. And a lot of times, writing should just be like that, okay? We want to have harmonious writing. We don't want dissonant writing, which is the exact opposite. The antithesis to that is when everything sounds horrible. It's like free-form jazz that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Free-form jazz that's out of key. So let's kind of just, I guess, man, I'm going off the dome here, but there's a lot that could really be kind of said with this this metaphor here. So, how's writing like harmony? So, let's say you got the note C. That's your plot structure. Okay. You want to create a scale. Like, I feel like writing and their literary elements, they almost kind of form a scale, like a music scale, where all the elements are coming together and they're going to work together. So, a lot of times in writing, it could be like somebody just slamming their hands on a piano, okay? Sometimes, you know, they got like some elements working for them, some not. So, with that being said, I just kind of want to compare some of the things that I'm seeing, okay? And just kind of give you guys a quick takeaway, okay? So, lately, a lot of these beta reads, I've been getting a lot of manuscripts, like a lot of them, that are just kind of, certain elements are just not working together, certain elements are not there, certain elements are just clashing, and a lot of times, certain elements are just not working, okay? Like, it's like you're trying to play a song, and then it's just, there's so much nonsense going on in the background. So, with that being said, harmonious writing, this is what I really want to kind of portray, is that when you're writing, these elements should be bouncing off each other, okay? Like kind of resonance, just the way music goes. They should just be harmonious, and they should resonate well together. They shouldn't create dissonance. So, if you're playing, you know, C minor on a chord, you know, even if it's like a horror movie and it sounds crazy scary, if it's a minor chord or a dissonant chord or a natural harmonic minor, you might still like it because it's still that genre, still that thing. But you know, we can't do just slam, we can't do that. So it'll be too loud. So sometimes I'm not synesthetic at all, but sometimes when I'm reading, it's like I'm hearing it, you know, in a weird way. So let's say your dialogue should be, you know, contributing, you know, contributing to plot structure. All these elements need to be constantly bouncing off each other to contribute to one harmonious chord, you know. So, like, let's say you're elevating your setting. It's really good. You want to get that setting in there. You want it elevated. Maybe this is a fantasy world. Well, then you want that setting so you can put your characters in there. You want your characters in there so they can move the plot. And you want your plot moving so you can contribute to development. So, all these different things, you know, that doesn't necessarily have to be in a right order, you know. Music and just kind of like just writing in general, let's say those three aspects, setting, character, and plot structure, they're almost like an arpeggio. You know what I mean? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Constantly just going and revolving, which is really creating this harmonious feel. Love it. So with that being said, you want your arpeggios there. You know, maybe you might be doing a major 7th chord and add some different stuff there, like some dialogue. Everything should be contributing together. It should all work together. So a lot of times we have what I'm just going to call random notes, you know? So let's say you're playing like just this beautiful chord, you're constructing this beautiful narrative, and then it just kind of goes off into nothing, which is, if you see behind me, there is a void of space or something, and that's kind of representative of what this video is kind of talking about, is just meaningless writing that just kind of just forms in a void and just really clutters things up. See, when things aren't working together, when all these elements aren't working together, it's like feedback with a guitar. It's like, like it's fluff. It doesn't need to be there. So look for those elements in your story that are not contributing to anything. You know, like this could be in dialogue where it's like a lot of fluff words. Let's talk about dialogue just in general. Dialogue, very cool, awesome. You know, it's the characters talking, but what are they talking about? I don't know. Is it important? They should be. Okay. It doesn't have to be every single time this major Magna Carta of this magnum opus of a line every single time. But what it should be doing is it should be contributing to something. You know, your dialogue should be contributing to character development. It should be contributing to plot movement. It should have a purpose, which is basically what I'm trying to really kind of portray here. Is you want your writing to be harmonious. You want it to have kind of like a really nice purpose. Every single element should be contributing in some way or some form. So let's say, you know, you're making a sonata. That's really nice. There's a lot of different notes in a sonata. So many different notes. Or even just like a waltz where it's like a little more steady. Maybe 3/4 timing. But when you're writing, you want that dance to happen. You want like all these elements to kind of just be constantly reflecting. You're the maestro. You know, you really want these concepts to be kind of flowing together, bouncing off each other. You know, it's like an orchestra, and then there's a tuba in the background, like, you know, it's just kind of just going crazy. Or maybe like something's out of tune. There's a lot of times where I see that too, where you can see something that's trying to add purpose, but ends up falling flat. This happens a lot of times with dialogue. Okay, we see dialogue that's a little like that. Which is, it just doesn't do anything. You know, like, there's, like, I've seen a lot of dialogues that are just kind of, like, they literally writes, like, period. And then, like, just, you know, like, there's a lot of chit-chat, a lot of fluff words, a lot of ping-pong dialogue and onion chops that just don't make sense. So, double-check, especially your dialogue, that it's moving something. You know, it's harmonious. Because when it's not doing anything and it's not contributing, what is that doing? It's just taking away precious real estate. You know what I mean? It's taking up precious space on the measure. You know what I mean? It's precious space on the measure. So, you know, it really is kind of like writing a song in a way. Like, we read it, we don't hear it, but if we did hear it, like, I kind of try to hear it. I try to, you know, I've been playing music my whole life, so I try to like really write. I hear these elements, like it's really weird to describe, but like I go, okay, cool. So that's like a note. We got, you know, this could be one note here. You know, it's nice. It's good when you hear it. It's good when it's in tune, even if it's just one thing ready to bounce off another. That is sick. So when you're writing a song, you got your verse, you know, verse 1, verse 2. You got your pre-chorus, you got your chorus. So this is similar to plot structure in a way. Music is a little bit more linear sometimes, but it depends on your genre. Okay, similar to books. You know, sometimes more linear, but sometimes really kind of subjective to genre. So when you're playing music, you know, you're going through your introduction, you're opening it up, and then you're moving into the chorus or the verse. You're getting to somewhere. You're always moving to somewhere in music. It's not like music is not one of those arts where just like you're moving to the verse, but then you're not doing anything for a long time. It really depends, you know, like you don't just stop and like, let's say you're the only person playing the song. You're only one instrument. You don't just stop for like, you know, like measures and measures and measures at a time. Like that's ridiculous. So what that means in translation here is when you start writing and there's no purpose to it for a long time, like maybe several pages. So double check that you're writing with purpose, you know, because I'm seeing so many purposeless writing, and I know a lot of times it translates here, but it doesn't translate to the reader. I know that feeling very well. That's how musicians are. You know, we kind of, and we hear it, and we go, okay, now that's got to get written down. And then the tough part is actually writing it down. Music is a little different, a little straightforward, because we don't have that gigantic vocabulary in music, although it is monumental. It's still monumental. You know, actually, maybe I should redact that just a little bit. There's a huge wide array of notes we have, but at the same time, when it comes to writing, there's millions and millions of words. So with that being said, definitely, maybe not millions, but I don't know, a lot of them. Well, yeah, there's definitely a lot of words. So definitely make sure your words are being harmonious, being wonderful, being loving, or just doing something that makes sense. So I was going to turn on my piano and play songs for this video. That would have been kind of fun. But I'm not going to because my program is not open. But I do have the microphone here, which is pretty cool. So let's see. I was reading a book. I can't give details. ironically. I can't give too many details about who wrote it, when wrote it, what's the plot, and whatnot. But what can I say is like there's a lot of silhouette characters, for example. You see some of that too, where there's characters with no description. It's really one note, and sometimes, especially when you're writing fantasy or sci-fi, there's a lot of foreign concepts. Okay, we want to make the foreign feel familiar. Really nice. But then sometimes it gets really lost in translation, and these characters are just, it doesn't make sense. It's more trouble than it's worth. Like, let's say you got like a character named Bagorgon, you know what I mean? Just something way out there. Like, what's the rhyme or reason to it? You know, sometimes it's just, the majority of the time it's just like, yeah, it sounds cool. You know, it's sci-fi, you know, I mean, that's cool. Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, sometimes it helps to add like some memorability, some unique aspects, or something we can latch onto, or a rhyme or reason, because sometimes it just gets offbeat. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know if you guys ever been in a band, but sometimes, you know, drummers just do while you're trying to tune. That's kind of like that, where you're trying to construct the character, and it's just, or you're trying to fall in love with the character. We want to fall in love with the character. We don't just like a character. We want to fall in love. We're trying to fall in love with the character, and it's like, what the heck does that mean? You know what I mean? So with that being said, double check that your characters are being written with purpose, and have the reader in mind. That's, you know, I think a lot of times authors will eventually learn that, to kind of write with the reader in mind. Less is more, a little bit, something like that. Some of the best songs are some of the most simple songs. Believe that. Some are created craftfully, and I think that's like, oh my god, I would actually say the majority of hit songs are very simple. And, you know, maybe that's another thing we could kind of take away from that, is that some of this gigantic writing, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. Like, let's look at Game of Thrones, for example. I love looking at Game of Thrones. I usually have it nearby when I'm beta reading, is because George R.R. Martin, for example, every single paragraph, he's contributing to world building. So when he's bringing in characters, they're going to add to the world. You know, the world is going to change with these characters as they change. And that's another thing too. You know, when you're world building, your world is supposed to change a little bit as these characters go through it, and as they're changing. A huge element there. So I love how that author in particular, every paragraph, he's got a purpose. He's world building every step of the way. So I would love to see that in some of you guys' writing. I'm not saying it's absolutely absent. Just saying I receive many manuscripts that are dissonant, which is the opposite of harmonious. We want harmonious writing. We want to hear the music. We want it to make sense. We want it to be in key. We want it to, like, another thing with music too is we have key signatures. You can kind of compare key signatures to genre a little bit if you want to kind of take it that way, or you can kind of compare it to literary elements, whatever you so prefer. But let's say you're writing, let's say you're C major. Okay, it's the most generic key. So let's say you're writing generic fantasy. You know, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, because a lot of times people think they're doing that, but it's not happening. It's not translating. So it's kind of like just a lot of improv when you got something specific to do. It's like if I give you guys, okay, I give you a task. I'm like, all right, you got to write just write me a verse in key, get to a chorus, and then I'll write the rest. And then we get there, and it's like, and then what happens next? And then I'm like, okay, cool, I can play that. And then you start just slamming on random notes, like improv. That's what I think a lot of writing kind of gets that feel, a lot of that improv feel. Being around music all the time, I hear a lot of improv. There's a right way to do improv. There's a wrong way to do improv. But also at the same time, there is no right or wrong way. It's really confusing, as in there are fundamentals to art, but there are no rules. So it's when you're critiquing, it's kind of like it's really kind of clashing a little bit, because you want to show what works, but at this show not tell. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and show not tell. But anyways, yeah, you want to hear it. Okay, you want to hear it, but it's on harmonies. So the point is, make your writing harmonic. Okay, make it so everything is working together. You know, like one thing is contributing to one note is leading to another note that is in key. And one literary aspect, like dialogue, is moving to push the plot forward. It's contributing to character development. It's maybe even contributing to setting. Nonverbal communication, same way. Let's say you have nonverbals in your dialogue text. You know, that could be like a little note, like a quarter note, 8 note. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so many cool things. So this is harmonic writing. Pretty interesting. I'm probably going to do the opposite video to this, called dissonant writing. Maybe right after this. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really busy. So if you guys are looking for beta reads, I'll put my link in the description. Definitely like and subscribe. But I am currently still doing them for free. Oh my goodness, 1 chapters, please, though. I'm not doing a million chapters. For free on video, not for free on beta read report and line by line, because that takes hours. and hours and hours. Ladies and gentlemen, the point of the video is to make, like beautiful music, make your writing harmonious. It's like an arpeggio. Oh my goodness, it's like an arpeggio. A beautiful C, E, G, just setting, plot movement, character development. It's all playing off each other. It's so beautiful. Like when one's not happening, you don't even need all the notes. You just need like a one chord. You know, if you can nail one chord and get a beautiful arpeggio, and then maybe even kind of incorporate some other elements in that and just have everything working together, then it's beautiful. But when things are like slamming on a piano or like just to one note, it can get really boring, or it could get really like, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely watch your writing. Make sure it has purpose. Like, subscribe, pick up the books if you want. Very good. And have a good day. Keep on writing. Get those 1,000 words in today. Have a good day.